Hi guys, horror fan here, and today I'm going to be doing my haunt commentary, show you which props broke, where some props were, because I took some of the props out of the haunt, and I'll explain why in this video. But I'm going to explain which props broke, which props were already broken for the haunt, why some weren't turned on. Craded Mummy was already broken. One of his eyes doesn't light up, but besides that he's good. But I actually have OCD, so it kind of bugs me that one of his eyes doesn't light up, so it bugged me having him on, so I just turned him off, and the only purpose of having him here really is just to place the light there. That was the blue fire and ice light that was shining on this graveyard. It looked really awesome. And to place the fog machine on top of him. I wanted to do chilled fog or ground fog, whatever you'd like to call it, but the cheap fog machines, the cheap ground foggers, like the one on Spirit Site, all had bad reviews saying that you had to fill it with ice like literally every 10 minutes, and first of all, I wouldn't want to deal with that, and second of all, it wasn't even worth it, because apparently it wasn't even ground fog, it was just regular fog, like a real fog machine. So I'd rather just have it at face level, or as for me, or for a really little kid, it's face level. I don't even know why I said that. For like belly level or chest level, depending on your age or your height. But I'd rather have that than a ground fogger that doesn't work, that I need to fill with ice every 10 minutes for nothing. Okay, John Doe, I cannot even believe he still works. It rained a bunch of times, he fell over more than any other prop, and he's still laying here. He still rises just as fast, his audio is just as fine. There was literally water in his battery compartment, and there was a point where I literally stopped picking him up. I see him on the floor, and I thought, you know what, if I put him up there, then he's just going to fall over again, and him falling over again is going to do more damage to him than leaving him on the floor. So there was literally a point where I left him on the floor until haunt day. Sorry. So here's my hangman's gallows. He doesn't have any shoes on right now, but we couldn't put shoes on him because we filled the bottom here with some sand, so he drops faster. I can't hold my phone and make a video of him right now at the same time, but I'll have somebody take a video of him and I'll upload a separate video of him, but I can't demo him in this video, I just can't. Creepy Caretaker, the stakes in his tombstone are missing, and he stopped working before, like he was working when I put him out, but he stopped working before the first haunt night, simply because of all the rain. And he stopped working. Water got in his battery compartment. He wasn't working. I don't know how John works then, because water got in his compartment too. So that kind of confuses me a bit. Then people would enter through this door here. Notice how this splits it up. You enter through this side here, and you exit through this side of the shed. And then from here on, you go into the garage. So I originally was going to use command brand, like, I don't want to call them hooks, but you guys know what I'm talking about when I say command brand. I was originally going to use that and some clear string to hang up these in here, because my mom said that this is really thin, so I shouldn't staple in it, but I ended up stapling in it, and it's okay. And notice there are a bunch of more staples here, simply because here we were throwing a severed head, a soft severed head. Obviously, we wouldn't throw a hard one that hurt people. We wouldn't throw it at them, but we'd right so that way it just misses their face, and the actor in here would yell bullseye, and it would just really scare them. I'd be effective at that. So I ended up stapling them up because I was having a lot of trouble with the command brand and string, but it worked out fine. There are no holes in the shed or anything. Zombie Barrel broke last year. I think I explained that to you guys and how upset I was about him breaking last year. Not necessarily breaking. If I were to plug him in, he'd still work, but his adapter, I can't get a new adapter. His adapter was glued into his base, which was a really stupid idea for YJ to do that. They should have just had it so that way I can easily get a new adapter if I lose this one. But he was plugged in, and the adapter was stretched out too much, so the adapter broke, and I can't get a new one because the adapter was glued into the base. I can't simply unplug it from the base like I can with modern-day YJ props. And just to be clear, I like the older YJ props better. I just don't like that aspect about them. Here's Torture Torso, a static prop, and shout out to Ethan Hyman, by the way. I did get this from him. Over the summer, I purchased this from him, so shout out to him. He sold me a few cool things. This and that nailed down corpse there. You can see his back. Yeah, that nailed down corpse. He sold me that and this together. And I also got Quivering Doorman from him, which I'll consider reviewing Quivering Doorman soon. But he was not a part of the haunt. I would never use something that rare in my haunt. I don't want to risk it breaking. Here's Die Zombie Die. One of his wires came out of the thing. I don't know what it's called. Not like a jack or anything. You get what I'm saying? One of the wires came out of like this little thing that it was in, like it looked like cardboard, but it wasn't. And then I noticed that I would plug him in, I'd flip him over, and when I stick the wire back into that thing, he'd start shaking again. So I realized we needed to use electrical tape, and we did, and he works fine now. But we just can't move him around that much. Chapping Brock is another one of the many props that broke this year in the haunt. And just to be clear, people actually respected my haunt this year. Luckily, not many people complained, so I'm glad about that. But props just break when running for long hours, first of all, and second of all, a lot of props are of just really poor quality. I just got him last week, so you can't even accuse me of like treating him poorly or anything. Not last week, but when I was doing the haunt, it had been just last week I got him. Now I've had him for a few weeks, but I had just got him like a few days before the first haunt night and like 5 days before the second haunt night. But he broke at the end of the second haunt night because he was running, and now he lifts his butcher up and moves to the side. He moves to the left is when it seems like this drops down significantly, like a significant amount. And then after that, he's just lighting up his eyes and making sounds, but he's not moving anymore. And I noticed that there was a bolt that was loose, so we're going to bolt that back in, but we tried super gluing because we didn't have any bolts for it, and I think that bolt got missing somewhere. We'll find it, we'll get a new bolt that matches it, but I'm not sure. And excuse the plane, we live like really close to an airport, like 10 minutes away from O'Hare, so sorry about that. Here's Tire Swing Zombie Boy, and he still works actually, and I'm glad because I actually really like him. When I first got him, I wasn't a big fan of him. He was just at the 50% off sale. And I planned before going to the 50% off sale, like, oh, well, he's one of the props that's not popular, so he's probably going to be one of the only props left at the 50 off sale. So I planned to get him before, even though I didn't like him that much. It's better than getting nothing, because they had no 50% off sale online, and it's best to take advantage of a big sale like that. I got him, and I enjoyed him a lot more than I thought I would. He looks way better. He's major detail. His clothes just don't pull down enough. See, there's some foam showing there. I'll try to pull it down more, but see, there's still some foam. But, like, look at the detail here. Like, it's absolutely amazing. I do not regret getting him, and honestly, I would have even paid the full price. Well, I wouldn't have at the time because I didn't really like him. But if I knew he was this good, I would have paid the full price. This is Evil Entity's hand I took off, and I put the light on there like a ring, and the light was flashing perfectly on all the props I wanted them to flash on. The zombie barrel, the tortured torso, die zombie die, Chapping Brock, and even not much on him because he's obviously like right under the light, but even a little bit on him. If you're wondering like that, why that's like that again, his tombstone lost its stake, so I'm just letting him get something off. Here's the asylum. Here's Hex. His mouth still moves, but the plate came out from like inside of his chin area, so the plate's still moving, but I just need to find a way to get it back into his chin area so that way the mouth actually moves instead of, like, if I feel his cheek, I can feel it moving when he's on, but I can't really see it moving, I can just feel it. So I think I just need to move the plate back into here somehow. I've tried to do it, but I can't. Broken Spine Girl, she still works, which is actually really ironic. The props that I have not heard many complaints about are all the ones that broke, but then the ones that everybody says are really cheap quality, like Broken Spine Girl, are the ones that have been working for like 2-3 years now. Her 2 years, because she's a 2014 prop. So this is the second full year that she's been working. But the third year I've used her on my haunt, because they used her in my 2014 haunt, 2015, and then this year. But I think you guys get the point. She's been working for a really decent amount of time, and I don't really understand the complaints. Convulsing Nurse is broken, but she fits really well in an asylum, so I just had to use her as a static prop. She looks absolutely fantastic. She looks terrifying, especially, like, I like her eye sockets. I like just the way her face looks. These, like, dots, if you will, in the middle of her face. And the fact that her arms are, like, cut off and there are hooks inside of them. It just looks really creepy. Oh, and also I forgot to mention that I did use scents from Fright Props. I ordered 7 scents from Fright Props total. I ordered Slaughterhouse and Rotting Decay for the Slaughterhouse, just Rotting Decay for the Graveyard, Hospital for the Asylum, Haunted Mansion for in here, and for the Clown Room I did Bubblegum, Cotton Candy, and I also did, I forget what it was, popcorn. Yeah, bubblegum, cotton candy, and popcorn. And I used a bit of Rotting Decay in there too, just for a zombie clown. He was the only one because he's a zombie and a clown, but the other would be rotting, so it wouldn't make sense to use Rotting Decay on them. Okay, so Continuing, twitching Banshee, we had her hooked up to a try me button back here, which is why you'll notice in the second part to my haunt video, my haunt walkthrough, you would have noticed that I went back here to turn her on. That's because she was not on sensor. The reason why she was not on sensor is because then sensor is not exactly accurate. It can go off at any random moment, and I want it to be precise. Because of how loud she is, she's the loudest prop in my collection, so because of that, I'd like her to go off at exactly when the people walk past her. So I had an actor back here pushing the button, so that way it's like it gets loud out of nowhere and being loud the whole time and just hurting people, giving people a headache. Face Ripper was off. He's rare, but not rare enough for me to not use him in my haunt, but he is rare enough for me to just keep him off the whole time because I didn't want him to break. And he still works. He still works perfectly, and she still works. Coat Rack Monster also still works. The roaming dolls work, but I had them off just because there's no room in here for them to roam around, because obviously they walk. Well, not obviously. If you're not a haunter like me, then you wouldn't necessarily know that. But if you're one of my friends, one of my haunter friends that I talk to on Skype, then you obviously know about these props. You know what they do. But for those of you who don't know, yeah, they do roam around. They have wheels on the bottom of their bases, and there's not much room in here for them to roam around. So that's why I kept them off. I kept him off too, just because I had no one to speak into his mic, and his actual voice or his soundtrack sounds a bit cheesy. Evil Entity was on, and he looked really awesome. I was originally going to hang my Magic Power Ghost Mirror somewhere up here. I was going to, up there where that wooden plank is that I hung that scene setter on up there, I was going to put a nail in there and then hang the mirror up there, but I decided not to because there's nowhere for me to really plug it in besides up there. But then the adapter's too long for it to be plugged in somewhere that close, so it would just be hanging down right there, and it could even probably choke somebody or something, or otherwise it'd just be in the way and it'd be annoying. So I didn't want to do that. Notice there's duct tape on here. I had it duct taped to the floor, but at this point, now that the haunt's over, and I have left it up for like an extra 2 weeks now, it's kind of worn out by now, but it wasn't really worn out at the time. It was duct tape on there pretty good. I had a bunch of toy props on here that I now have in my room, because I keep these. There are some props in here that I keep in my room, and it was weird not having them in my room for a few nights, so I wanted to get them back in there as soon as possible when haunt night was over. So I apologize that some props might not be in here. It was just weird because I always keep the same exact props in my room, and it was just weird to keep them out for those few nights. So I wanted to put them back in like as soon as possible. But I'll tell you what I had here. I had Evil Ragdoll, Haunted Lamp in that corner there. I had Spider Portrait in that corner. Oh, and by the way, where Evil Ragdoll was, she was right here where the sticky note is. I actually put sticky notes down the market, but they're like, only a few of them are left. I believe, I'm not sure whether Monkey Chimes and then Accordion Monkey were on these corners or these corners down here, but I know Daddy Teddy and Daddy Bear were on either these two corners or these two, and then Monkey Chimes and Accordion Monkey were either on one of those corners too. And down here, I had Ghostwriting Book with a candelabra prop, and you can't really see, but behind that sticky note where Ghostwriting Book was a candelabra prop that was lighting up. And I also had Creepy Sailor Boy and Face Off Baby Doll. You're not going to be able to see much in here. This is the dark room, so I apologize, but there's really nothing much to show here. It's too dark. It's literally just plain black tablecloths to make it dark. No lights whatsoever, so there's nothing to explain there, so you don't really need to see in there. There's Zombie Clown. Sorry, in here you do kind of need to see, so I apologize that you really can't. I'm going to try opening the door a bit more. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, that helps just a little bit, but not much. There's Zombie Clown. You can see him, but you can't really see him that well. Like, his clothes stand out, but as far as his face goes, you can't really see the details on his face. But I sprayed Rotting Decay and popcorn and bubblegum on him. Rotting Decay where his wounds were, bubblegum and popcorn just all over him. His balloon says Happy Birthday on it because the original balloon popped, of course, and he still works perfectly fine. I had Face Ripping Clown right here in this seat, and this is where this light was, right here. And it was on the side, more on the side rather than in the middle, because I had to kind of dodge Face Ripping Clown, if you will. Bite Size Clown was sitting right here, in this chair. Both of those still work. Zombie Clown, I think I said, still works. Chester the Jester, I made this little section for him myself. I made this whole thing myself, by the way. like, budget-wise, I couldn't have done this without my mom because she paid for a lot of this, but physically, I didn't get any help on it whatsoever. Like, I did it all on my own. So how I did this little section here, I just used plain black tablecloth and stapled it up. And then to the bottom of it, I stapled some scene setters. And he pops up just perfectly, like, up to here. So, like, it's just the perfect height for him to pop up. And then right above there, I have the clown mirror. Chester and the clown mirror still work. By the way, scene setters are only 4 feet high, which is why it's wrinkled. In the Haunted Mansion room, it's wrinkled in the here, it's wrinkled in the middle, and in the butcher shop, not wrinkled, but you can see it's separated in the middle, because the difference is in the butcher shop, it was stapled against the wall, and here it's hanging down. But you can notice that there's like a line in the middle for all of them, except for the rooms with black tablecloth, like the asylum and the dark room, because scene setters are only 4 feet high, and I need them to be 8 feet at least, so I staple them with a staple gun up there, and then I use a regular stapler to sort of clinch them like this, and then I just staple it like so, which is why it might look a bit messy and sloppy in the middle, so I apologize for that too. And sorry if it's messy too. I haven't gotten to clean up the haunt. It wasn't messy on Halloween day. Wacky Mole Clown works, but he doesn't anymore. He does, but he doesn't at the same time. Let me explain to you what happened. I'll take his shirt, or not off. I'm not going to take his shirt off, but I'll lift it up here just so you can see the base. And I'll try to move his shirt out of the way. So, you see this dangling here? You'll notice that this piece right here is broken. That piece is supposed to go onto this gray thing right here, this little gray pole. And then this pole spins around, making him move side to side, but this broke. So we glued it back onto there, and it started working perfectly fine. But then I messed with him a bit too much, and the glue came off. Like, by mess with him, I don't mean on purpose. I mean I accidentally bumped into him, and this came off of the thing. So now we have to glue it back on, but once we do, he'll be moving side to side just fine again. I need to be very, very careful with him. And to show you where the lights were, the green light that was facing on Chester the Jester was on Wacky Mole's shoe right there, facing him. And our black light is right up there, mounted up there. Well, that's my haunt commentary. This was a very good year. People were polite and respectful of the haunt. I got a lot of compliments, and people actually got scared. Like, honestly, I didn't think people would get scared. Like, I'm aware that it's not that good. Like, it's an amateur home haunt. It's good for what it is, but it's not at a professional level, and people shouldn't expect it to be, and I'm glad nobody did. But people actually got scared. We made one little girl cry. We made some people run out. So I'm really glad. That makes me happy to see people that scared. Until next time, guys, peace.